Hi, and thank you for tuning in to Lunch Talk with the Carters. I am your hostess, Star Carter.
And I am your host, Michael Carter.
And we just come to tell you all that it is time to get the show started. What's going on, guys? We are back on this beautiful Monday morning. I hope everybody had a great weekend. So how are you doing today, Mr. Carter?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just a little tired, but I'm doing okay.
All right. Well, that's good to hear that you are doing good. Hate that you're a little tired coming off this long weekend that you had to work. So
yeah, this third shift is really putting it in me.
Well, hopefully you won't have to be on third shift too much longer, because I don't like being at the house by myself either. That's not the fun part, but we just blessed that you have a job and you able to work and I'm able to work, and we can keep Lunch Talk with the Carters going.
Oh yeah, it's a blessing. Oh yeah.
All right. So guys, I hope you enjoyed our last show past Friday, where we talked about in the beginning, part 1 of our relationship series. We are taking it all the way back. When we say we're taking it back, I'm talking about we're taking it all the way back to Genesis to tell you how things had started back in the day going wrong. So it's not just you, it's been going on. So if you're going through anything in your relationship right now, this is our way of showing you that it's been going on since the beginning of time, all the way back through Genesis in the Bible. So we're going to pick up today, kind of like where we left off. My husband had asked me last week, and actually guys, he kind of threw that on me. He wouldn't really tell me what the show, I kind of knew what the show was about, but I didn't know the question that he was going to ask me, and I didn't know where he was going to come from. So that's why I had to let him set it up, because he was like, well, Star, I don't know how you're going to take what I got to ask you. And it was about, the lady is supposed to submit to her husband, and that's in Ephesians 5. What is it? 5 verse, 20 or 22?
22. Yes.
Yeah. And so he had, read the scripture from there, and then I gave him my response. So if you haven't listened to the show, and I told him, when the wife's supposed to be submitted to the man, it kind of gave up that right. Not saying that not going forward that it still did not, take place, but he kind of gave up that right for the submissive when Adam, took direction from Eve in the Garden of Eden, when she offered him the forbidden fruit that God had already told him that he could not have. And when God made him first, that means he made him first because he wanted him to be the head of household, meaning the head of nations, the head of everything. So it was like when he took directions from the creation that God created, that kind of changed the dynamics from the very get-go. So it was like, that was my, response to what Michael had said about, how did the dynamics in household shift from the woman being more a dominant figure than the man. And I, just gave him a prime example by using that scripture. So today I'm going to give you guys another example of when infidelity and that type of thing has entered into relationships from back in the day. So I was, as I was telling you guys, I'm going through this ministry training. So I've been reading some real interesting scriptures that I'm not gonna lie, I hadn't really dug deep into it until I started taking these classes. So it's kind of been really fun to, learn more about the Bible more in depth than I did, just going to church on Sunday or Bible study or stuff like that. So just really diving into it. So I've been finding out some very interesting things that's about relationships, and marriage and stuff in the Bible, just in the first book of Genesis. That's it. I hadn't read anything else about marriages other than the relationships that started from the beginning of time. And so, what was interesting to me, and I was telling Mike about it, was the story of, when Abraham had to leave, well, God told him to leave the land. And he's like, I want you to leave. I want you to take your wife, Sarah, because she wasn't Sarah at the time. She was Sarah. And it wasn't Abraham, it was Abram. That's before he changed his name. And he said, I want you to leave, and I want you to just go, and you'll know pretty much where I want you to be when you get there. But for now, I just want you to go to a land where I'm going to make you a father of many. You're going to have many children. You're going to do good. I just want you to go. So in their process of their moving, they had got drawn out of this land that was in famine. So they ended up in Egypt. And Sarah was very beautiful. She was very beautiful. And right before they entered into Egypt, Abram, he was like, hey babe, you are so beautiful. You fine, girl, you fine. And if you don't pretend to be my sister when we get in here, they gonna kill me. So I'm gonna need you to be my sister instead of my wife. So I guess because the man, was trying to still take the lead, was trying to take back the part of being the lead, Sarah went along with it. So when they get inside and of course the Egyptians, they see how beautiful she is. And of course the Pharaoh, once his officials came out there and they was like, oh man, you ought to see this chick that just came up in here. She is beautiful. You need to see her, Pharaoh. She is off the chain. And so when the Pharaoh sees her, he's like, oh my God, I'm in love with her, And so Abram, of course, he's like, oh, that's my sister. That's my sister. So yeah. And so, they're so pleased with her beauty that, they kick down. In another word, they kick down Abram. They give him all kind of stuff. They give him camels. They give him donkeys and servants. And I don't know how long they were there, but they were there long enough that Abram was able to come up, down there in Egypt, with the Pharaoh and everything. So God didn't like that. And rightfully so. Why would he like it? Because he done told you what he's going to do for you, and I'm going to take care of you and your family. So why are you doing things that's against what I told you I'm going to do for you? Not only are you taking your wife into this place and making her pretend to be your sister, but you gave your wife to another man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy right there. I couldn't do that. But, it's like, okay, when it comes to your family back then, they used to give you large diaries, such as, the animals and the gold trinkets and probably land or whatever they got, for your daughters or your sisters or things like that, and they had like, concubines, I want to say, like more than one wife and stuff like that, during that time. So, when he did that, he was looking at, like you said, a financial come up. He was trying to get a financial come up because, even though God had promised that, when it comes to us as being humans, we don't necessarily want or willing to wait on God all the time. So, he decided to take the situation in his own hand. Mm-hmm. He tried to come up on his own, regardless of what the word was of what the word God said. Mm-hmm. So, he went against that and demoted his wife from his wife to his sister, for a quick come up.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so like I said, the Bible verse don't say how long they were there, but they was long enough that he was able to gain all kind of riches from Pharaoh.
Oh yeah. Quick come up.
Yeah. And so I just couldn't understand. And I'm like, well, Abram, why would you give your wife away? That is your wife. That's who God gave you. Why would you give your wife to somebody else? And to me, and this is no disrespect to God's word, it just seemed like it was a form of prostitute, not his wife.
Pretty much, yeah, because he was getting not money, but he was getting valuable stuff for his wife. So basically, yeah, that's what you did. You pimped your wife out, to the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's basically it.
That's what he did.
That's it.
Yeah, that's why I say I don't want it to sound disrespectful to the word, but yeah, that's what it seemed like. That's what it was. Because if we did it today, that's what it would be.
Yeah. But Abraham and Sarah, boy, they had a lot of stuff going on. That couple right there was crazy.
Yeah.
That was a crazy couple.
Yeah. They didn't, those two right there, they did not want to wait on God for anything. Mm-hmm. And so, on to another point that happened in their relationship. If you go down, that's Genesis 12, verse 10 through 20. Oh yeah, I got to tell you this part too. This is a real good part. Not only, did he do that, with let Pharaoh, lay with his wife or whatnot, because of all the things he gave him. And that's why, so he wouldn't get killed, but God didn't like it. And he made Pharaoh and his officials, sick. He gave them a serious disease. And so, Pharaoh came after him, was like, what have you done to me, Abram? What you done? And he was like, why you didn't tell me that was your sister? You know, God is punishing me now. Why you didn't tell me that was your sister? Why you didn't tell me that was your wife? Why you told me she was your sister? My bad. And he was like, y'all with some mess.
Yeah, I told you, them two right there, boy, they're off the chain.
He said, no. Pharaoh was like, you didn't tell me that was your wife. And look at me. I got, back then, God gave you, series like boils and what else, those things, leprosy and all kind of stuff. And I mean, Pharaoh used to catch it back in the day where, God didn't play with Pharaoh at all. He was saying all kind of stuff at Pharaoh. So he's like, I need you to get you and your wife and get up out of here. Take all your stuff, and go on your way. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to kill your trifling wife even. I'm not gonna kill nobody. Just go on about your business. Just get on up out of here. And so they wind up leaving.
But my thing on that too is, so okay, she had two husbands.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. And when he sent them on his way, not trying to be funny, but they didn't have divorce or anything back then. So she just had two husbands and left, and that was it.
I mean, really, it really didn't make any sense. So he's like, I took your wife to be mine.
Exactly. But in the Bible now, that could mean sexually.
Yeah.
Cause they have a lot of specific ways they say verb, things, words when it comes to sexual activity or whatever,
Cause naked can mean sex. Yeah, and it also can mean naked.
Yeah, exactly.
As we know it,
so like I said, it couldn't have been, to come to think about it, it may not have been marriage. It could have been just in a sexual way.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why God put that disease on him because of that, and I never understood why God got mad at Pharaoh about it. I mean, because Abram knew that was his wife. Yeah. I mean, Pharaoh was honest. I mean, he didn't know. Yeah. I mean, he's going by what he was told.
Yeah, he was tricked. He was hornswoggled.
Yeah, I said, so he wasn't really technically doing anything wrong. I mean, he really didn't know. But
when he did know, he chipped them out.
Yeah, y'all go ahead. Y'all got to go.
Yeah, y'all go ahead on.
I ain't got time for that. Y'all got to go. And so, on their journey, they kept on, going on their journey to find the land that God told them that he was going to give to them, the promise and the covenant. That's basically what the Abraham and Sarah story is about. But before, like I said, before they even became Abraham and Sarah, when they were still Abram and Sarah, Sarah, God had promised Abraham and Sarah a child, but the time was ticking on Sarah to have a baby. And so she was like, I know God promised me and you a baby, Abram, but it just ain't happening. It's just not happening, not like I want to again, trying to go before God, want to actually give you things. You in a hurry. We're the most impatient people. We've been impatient ever since the beginning of time. So when God promised you something, you don't have the patience to wait. So she tells Abram one day, she's like, okay, I want you to have many sons. I want this promise that God gave you. I want it to actually happen. So since it can't happen through me, it don't seem like it's going to happen through me because I can't have no children, I'm going to give you my servant girl, Hagar. Mm-hmm. And through her, maybe you can have all the sons that you want to have. So I think she was the first surrogate mother of the Bible. She was the very first surrogate mother.
Okay, babe, before we go deeper, okay, we're going to get back to this subject. But now, with you studying this, well, I'm studying too, but you're a little more advanced than I am when it comes to this, just telling you guys the truth. But, okay, now I'm confused. Now, okay, Abraham and Sarah, okay, didn't they have Isaac?
This was after, and this is before he changed their name. So this is not even
because the sacrifice of Isaac. You remember, God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac.
This is before that took place after. This is before all that.
Because, Sarah did have a child. She was like 100. Yeah. But she had a child.
But she didn't, at this point, she hadn't had Isaac and their name hadn't changed. She wasn't Sarah then. She's still Sarah. Sarai.
Okay, so that's the promise God made.
That's the promise, and they're not waiting on it.
And they didn't wait till the 100 years. Yeah, they didn't want to wait. God,
that's why I said they don't never want to wait on God.
She got this.
Yeah. See, and he's Abram now, not Abraham.
Okay, so that was okay on down the line.
That was down the line.
So that's when he kept promising. God promised them that they would have a child.
Yeah, but
didn't know it was going to be 100. Yeah, because Abraham was like 100 and something.
He was 99 and she was 100.
100. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So gotcha. Okay. So that's why I was wondering where Isaac went. Yeah.
Yeah. She still is, God is still telling them, look, I want y'all to keep going to this place that y'all gonna live at. but I'm going to make you fathers of many nations. You're going to have many, many sons. However many, you look up at the sky and you count the stars. And if you could count them, that's how many children you're going to have. You know, you can't count the stars. Okay. So that's how many children that he told Abraham that he would have.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, okay.
And he told Sarah that. Yeah. And Sarah laughed. Because Sarah was like 100 years old. She's like, no, it ain't happening. Okay. And so, but before then, that's where we at now.
So yeah, we get back on Hagar now. But yeah, I was just curious about the Isaac thing, because you know, doing my little stuff, you know, I was like, wait a minute now.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it did happen, but it happens after this. This is chapter 16, where she gives her servant girl Hagar to Abram to have, like I said, she's like the first surrogate mother.
Now y'all, this is a good story right here. This is a tripping story right here.
So she's like, okay, babe, I need you to go ahead and, you know, sleep with Hagar so that we can have this baby. And so Abraham agreed. You know, it took him about 10 years to do it, but you know, they had been in Canaan, you know, that long. So he was like, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll sleep with her, since, you know, it don't seem like you're going to get pregnant anytime soon. So Hagar, she conceives. So when Hagar knew that she was pregnant and everything, she started to hate Sarah. You know, she running around in her house, you know, with an attitude, you know, with her belly all out and everything. And she despising Sarah, you know, her master, you might well say, because she was her servant.
A servant, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she's running around there with an attitude and everything. And, you know, showing off her belly, you know, yeah, I got a baby, you ain't got no baby. So she was kind of like the first side chick too, that they talk about in the house.
well, this side chick she knew about. She the one that put it on her.
Yeah.
So this side chick knew about it.
That's what I'm saying. It was so crazy back then, because Sarah had the nerve to get mad. She got mad, and then she said to Abram's like, "You're responsible for the wrong that I'm suffering right now. You know, I put my slave into your arms, right? And now that she is pregnant, she acting a fool up in here on me. She rolling her eyes at me and, you know, cutting her eyes and being all short and snappy with me and, you know, just acting up." And guess what Abraham told her? Abram. Guess what he told her? Typical man. Guess what he told her? That's your slave. You did this. That's your girl. That's yours. What you want me to do? You the one that told me to sleep with her.
See, that's the good part of the story I wanted y'all to get to right there. How in the world
that's your girl.
You tell me to do something, I do it, and you get mad at me for doing it, huh? Mm-hmm. Where they do that at?
Back there in Genesis, obviously. Yeah. She told him to sleep with her to get the baby. He slept with her. And when she got pregnant and she started acting up on her,
she blamed Abraham for her misery.
Yeah, she blamed him. And he was like, well, hold up now. I just did what you told me to do. But there it goes again. How can you be the man of the house? How can you be the man of the house and you're still taking direction from your wife?
Well, in that case, now that's an exception to the rule.
No, it's not.
Because, hey man, where in history your wife going to give you consent to sleep with somebody else? The first guy, even back then, you know, they're going to jump in that opportunity.
And that's terrible. And see,
how is that terrible if your wife acknowledging it and setting it up for you? How is that terrible?
He had a special connection with God. And he had trusted God through all what he had gone through, but he still did not trust God enough that God told you, look, you look in the sand. How many granules of sand can you count? That's how many kids I'm going to give you. You look up at the stars, and if you could count them, that's how many kids you're going to have. If you can count all them stars, that's how many children I'm going to give you. And their children is going to be blessed. You're going to be blessed, and their children is going to be blessed. And it's like, you, back then, you know, like us now, we pray. And we have our faith. Our faith has got to carry us. But back then they had like the hookup with God. God revealed himself to them on a basis, like a daily basis. Like they saw him in the burning bush. You know, I mean, God always appeared to them, like talked to them. They knew they were talking to God. Mm-hmm. You know, it was no doubt about it. Yeah, they were talking to God.
Over the tabernacle, everywhere, all through the book.
That's what I said. They talk to God like I'm talking to you and like we talking to y'all. So it's like, I could not understand why when God told him that I'm going to have children, just like with Adam, don't eat the fruit. I'm telling you the direction, don't do it. But and still, y'all still listen to them women that's steering you wrong. Now, yeah, you had a child, but that's still not the child I told you I was going to give to you.
Yeah.
You had Ishmael. That was his name. God, you know, the angel appeared before Hagar, because once Hagar and Sarah got into it, Hagar left and she was like, I ain't got to deal with this. I take me and my chat and we gone. And that's what she did. She took her and her kid and she left, and the angel appeared to her and told her, you know, you're pregnant. You're going to name him Ishmael. You need to go back and ask Sarah for forgiveness. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what you need to do. You need to ask for forgiveness, you know, but that still was not the promise that God had made. It still wasn't a promise. And God had to reveal himself to him again and tell him, okay, yeah, you got Ishmael, but that still ain't the baby I'm talking about. The one you talking about, Isaac. That still ain't Isaac.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it now. But guys, it all boils down to, you know, Let's Talk with the Carters all about relationship issues, even back in Genesis, guys. You know, we're human beings. We don't always have the patience as humans, including myself, to wait for the promises that we know God is giving us. Mm-hmm. We don't have that patience, guys. And every time we go against the grain, it turns out bad. Mm-hmm. Every time, you know, when man tried to create destiny himself, you know, even back with Abraham and Sarah in Egypt with the Pharaoh, they wanted a quick come up, even though God told them they was going to have riches. Even with the servant Hagar, you know, told them they was going to have a child, but every time they want to take the situation in their own hands, you know, not trusting in the word. Guys, when it comes to relationships, it's in the Bible. Trust in the word. Try your best. Not everybody's perfect. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, but you must try as hard as you can to be righteous in a relationship, especially if you came before God and took this person as your husband or your wife.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Well, it was good sharing some of these little issues that's been going on forever. So if you are having these type of problems, you know, you got side chicks, you got somebody that's wanting you to hook up with somebody, y'all together and stuff. This stuff goes on, and it's been going on since the beginning of time. So that's the reason why we're doing this in the beginning relationship series right now. And so when we come back on Friday, I got another juicy one from Genesis. How about if you married the wrong person? How about if you married the wrong person? You in love with somebody else, but you married the wrong person. That happened in Genesis.
Yeah, it did. I know exactly where you're going with that, but yeah, it did.
How about if you married the wrong person? You waited on this person and you ended up marrying the wrong person. The person that you in love with is right there in your eyesight, but you married the wrong person. So
make sure you guys tune in.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in today with Lunch Talk with the Carters. As always, we enjoy these juicy topics. Hope you guys are listening to us on Radio Public, because when y'all listen to the show on Radio Public, y'all are financially supporting Lunch Talk with the Carters, and we always appreciate it. Make sure you are checking us out on our other platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts now, and also iHeartRadio. Thank you guys again, and peace.